Got his trip down, and you know what? It was not a lonely trip. David Holladay, come up.
Give me that mic.
How you going, man? Hey, Ted.
Wow. He's got a full iPad full of stuff.
I do. Only 5 minutes worth, though. My name is David.
They kept telling me that they're not going to come down. No, I'm not coming down. I can't make it.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm David, right? I'm also one of Ted's older, smarter, better looking, more educated, non-asshole, and better at Halo brothers. So it's good to be here. And you know, Ted keeps me hidden from you guys because I'm the one he's modeled his life after. So and this is why he does that. It's a kind of an insecure thing, but it's okay. Being a brother, though, there's a lot of things you probably don't know about him, right? You know his professional life. I know a lot about his personal life. So let me tell you just a couple stories. I won't make this long, but let's start out. When Ted was young, he was actually always fashionable. Like sometimes you think, yeah, you grow into this, but Ted always knew it, ever since he was a little kid. I remember we were at school one time, and I looked over, and I said, Ted, there's something sticking out of the collar of his shirt. And I said, Ted, what is that? And you know when you buy a shirt, right? You know when you buy a shirt, it comes with all this packing material, right? You know, the cardboard under the collar. There's this little plastic thing you put under the, the button, stuff like this. The pins that go in it. Well, Ted still had those in while he was wearing it. And so I looked. I said, Ted, what is this? He said, well, it helps keep the shirt stiff. I mean, that makes sense. So I only bring that up because if you see something hanging out of Ted's shirt, and now that he's older, out of his pants, it's because it helps keep things stiff. Now, it's a sensitive subject, but you may also notice that Ted's a little bit insecure, right? He's covered his body in ink. He's embarrassed by it, but it's okay. It's okay, Ted. We love you. What you don't know, though, is that Ted actually has some tattoos that are hidden you don't know about. You've seen some of them, right? You've seen some of them. Now, there's a scary thought right there. But let me just tell you about one of the hidden tattoos that he has. Only one. A few years ago, he thought he'd be a clever, cheeky monkey, and he went out and he got a letter B tattooed on each of his butt cheeks. One on this side and one on the other side, right? Because B stands for bun and bun, right? So he thought, well, this would be the coolest thing, right? It's really clever. It's creative, right? He's a very creative guy. So he got tattooed a B and a V. And then what he did is he went home. He was all happy. He was pleased. He was going to show his girlfriend. I think that was number 48. I think. Girlfriend 48. So he says, look, I'm going to show her this pair of Bs. So he goes home and he bends over. He drops his pants. And all she said was, who's Bob? Sorry, we wonder about Ted from that day on, too. We really did.
I don't have bees on my butt. Prove it!
Please don't prove it. Please don't prove it. Now, somebody mentioned before, too, that Ted is now living in an Airstream trailer out in the woods. But what people don't know about this whole move is it's not just a move about the Airstream. Ted is actually going to change careers. He probably hasn't told you this, has he? He's looking to become a motivational speaker. That's good. That's good. I think that's really good. You'll do well at that, okay? Just like the B tattoos, you did well at that. But then all of a sudden I realized where I had seen this before. Ted is actually now Chris Farley living in a van down by the river. And when Ted's belly gets a lot bigger and he decides to move in with you, that whole transformation will be complete. Now, let me show you one other story because this is very important. Because when you're creative, you kind of seem like, wow, you know how to do everything, right? Well, let me tell you, Ted's culinary skills, cooking, are not that hot. When we were young kids, we would go on these car trips as a family, right? And it was somebody's job to help pack a lunch. And so my mom would bake this awesome homemade bread, big loaves of bread. And somebody's job in the family each time was to create or make sandwiches. So when Ted got up to make the sandwiches, what he would do is he could not slice that bread correctly. So he'd start slicing it, and one end would be about this thin, paper thin. You could see light through it. The other end of the bread would be 2 inches thick, okay? So he would take this bread, and you add mayonnaise, and you add pickles, and you leave this in a hot car all day. And Ted became officially known as the worst sandwich maker in the history of mankind, ever. Because if you take 2 pieces of bread with 2 inches of crust on each end, that comes out to 4 inches of jaw-mashing horribleness. So, Ted's culinary skills are a little bit too lacking. Now, one last thing I like to mention about Ted, in conclusion, is you probably realize that Ted's pretty much the biggest promoter of himself by far. We all know that how starved he is for attention. We all get this, right? It's not new news to any of us, is it? Right? But he does it very subtly. It's done very well. I like it. Right? He's like, oh, you're interviewing me on the radio. I am so privileged to be here. It's an honor to be talking on the radio. And then he'll throw in some heartwarming story, like, my dog is blind and he can't bark, but he loves your radio show, and it's helped him to bark again. You're like, okay. And then under his breath he goes, okay, now ask me a damn question about my amazing work. Even this roast, right? Even this roast. I mean, who needs so much attention that they promote their own roast? Seriously, right? To prove this, I'm kind of a numbers guy, right? So I looked on Facebook at this event. And out of 35 comments, 25 were by Ted. 71% of all the comments are by Ted, and this is a good rule of thumb about Ted. On any given project, event, or conversation that is about Ted, 71% of the hype will come from Ted. It is, probably, yeah, sorry. I'm trying to be nice tonight, sorry. So 71% of what you hear is so great about Ted will come directly from him. That's also part of the brilliance of my brother Ted, though. So what I've learned, is our brother Ted is fashionably stiff, non-cooking, hidden tattoo motivational speaker living in a van down by the river, and 70% of what I just said came directly from Ted. Ted, we love you, brother.
Love you. Thank you so much. Thank you, David. Let's watch this. No kissing.